my name is Hannah and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have a special guest today. This is my sister Sarah, and we have both read the book Sankofa by Chibundu Onuzo. Onuzo. Is that, did I say that okay?
Probably.
Okay, so we're doing something a little different today for my channel, and we're going to just talk about this book. To start out with, I'm going to just read kind of the description of the book. So it says, searching through her mother's belongings one day, Anna finds clues about the African father she never knew. His student diaries chronicle his involvement in radical politics in the 1970s London. Anna discovers that he eventually became the president, some would say dictator, of a small nation in West Africa, and he's still alive. So that's what we're going off of here. What did you think of the book, just overall, like impressions?
I liked it. I liked the way that Anna was written, and I liked the way it was written because it was very dry and straightforward, which I think is what her character was.
Like,
you know?
When you say dry, you mean like not very much like flowery prose?
Yeah,
Like straightforward?
it's more of the dialogue when she talks to other people, and even when other people talk to her, it's very, it's very straightforward, which is weird because in the English language we usually tend to add a lot of buffering and things, but this was just, do you want to go to church with me? Yes. Like
very, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
that is nice. I thought that she was a pretty relatable character.
Yeah.
Like, we start out with her kind of in this marriage that she's thinking about getting a divorce from. At least her daughter's pushing her to get a divorce, and she feels like kind of a passive character. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I think the book started where, like, at a point in her life where she was on the fence about a lot of things. Like on the fence about recovering from her mother's death and going through a divorce and going through all these things, but she wasn't really going either way. It was just very like, she was on the fence about a lot of stuff.
Well, do you think that was maybe kind of a bit of a commentary on her being biracial, just kind of that she'd never explored maybe her heritage, and so she was a very like maybe undecided character, and she needed to, and the whole book is about, you know, finding her roots.
Yeah, I think she was a character that just didn't have a lot of pathways, but
she wanted to choose.
So doesn't really have connection with either side, doesn't really know if she wants to be married or not, is kind of in between grieving her mother and moving on.
And like, I feel like she didn't really have a connection to the part of her that was from Africa before that. Her mom was like, there are some flashbacks to her mother throughout. Yeah. That it's very much, you're not different from anyone else. I don't see you as black. Like, you're just...
Like, even her aunt was the one that had to take her to show her how to do her own hair because her mother just didn't want to.
Well, and what did you think about that? Because we kind of opened up on her mother's death, right? So she's discovering these journals from her dad. And what did you think about, like, not knowing her mother when she's alive? It's not like she could go confront her mother about this.
Yeah. I think that was a very on purpose choice, because getting her mother not out of the way, but like
just get her out of the way.
Not having her in the book as much kind of made it so that Anna herself could figure out her father's character without other influences.
Yeah, and like we really do get that kind of that first person narrative of Francis, her father, when he is a college student, and we get to know him when he was younger. Yeah. And not him in the current day, but just him as a younger student. Yeah. And you don't get the influence from the mother as much.
Yeah, well, and maybe it's because that just doesn't matter anymore. You know, like that was her whole childhood and everything, and now this is her growing, moving on into something new, something she doesn't know about as much.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do think the book really did grapple well with some of that searching for connection. And did you think that it dragged at all towards the beginning when she was discovering her dad's journal, and she finally makes the decision to go out to Bamana, the small country that her father was president of. Do you think that that part dragged a little, just getting the visas, or did you think it was pretty quick paced?
I think the decision dragged on because there was like her friend Catherine who took her to church, and then she like went to the divorce lawyer and just kind of like hemmed and hawed and like kind of read about, and then I think it kind of like she went to go get her visa, and then I was happy that it wasn't, we had to sit through and read the whole process of her getting her visa. It was just like, then I got it and then I went. Like,
yeah.
And I was happy about that because I didn't want to read about that. So
well, and that did introduce us to a character that we see later as she goes to Bamana, and that is, what was his name?
Ken.
Ken.
Yes.
Do you like Ken, Sarah?
No. Ken just, I could have read the book without Ken. I don't think he added anything to the book.
I think like the whole point of Ken was to say she's being more active in her life and making some of her own choices.
Yeah, but
do you think that was it?
It wasn't even like Ken was someone that she could help move on from her husband with, or like Ken was someone who really showed her around Bamana and like helped her understand the people. It was just like Ken would show up, say some stuff, she'd feel uncomfortable, and then he would leave.
I mean, for context, Ken is just some guy who is there when she's trying to get her visa, and then is there when she gets to Bamana.
Just like white guy.
Just some white guy.
And we don't really know what he does. Like
it kind of sounds shady. Like,
yeah, he's like, I'm just here on some business, and then he'll like just show up
and wants to make out with her. Like, I don't know. Ugh. Like, it's just weird. I don't understand the Ken character, but I almost wonder if it was kind of like the author was trying to throw that in to maybe illustrate something about the corruption in Bamana because he kind of seems a little shady. Or do you think that maybe he was like a juxtaposition to the native people, like the people who actually live in Bamana? Like, do you think there was a purpose in Ken, or was Ken just the worst?
I'm sure there was a purpose, but I just didn't like it because we see all of the shadiness anyways.
Yeah.
Even without Ken, we see all the shadiness. Not that like it's shady, but we see some of the like, the bribery and stuff,
like
just, like
a little bit of corruption in the government, kind of things.
But I don't know.
Yeah, Ken was kind of terrible.
You didn't get a lot about the daughter. I didn't really care about the ex-husband or anything, but I kind of wanted, because a lot of the book did talk about Anna's relationship with her mother, I did want to know about her relationship with her daughter. And the first part of the book would talk about Rose, but then I didn't really understand that she was her daughter until 2 chapters in, when it was like, Rose is my daughter, and I was like, oh.
Now it makes sense. But it was kind of an interesting one just because Rose passes for white, and that kind of contrasts with Anna's view of herself and her struggles in being biracial, and how her daughter just doesn't care, you know, because it hasn't been something. And I think that maybe Anna's trying to seek for some more connection to kind of show her daughter and teach her daughter and bring her into that.
Because at the very end, she's like, I want Rose to come.
Yeah.
So maybe eventually she gets to a point where she would feel comfortable sharing this with her daughter. Because I feel like I put all of her, and maybe the character does this, but she puts all of her whiteness in this box. So there's her husband and her mom and even her daughter maybe. And then this focuses more on her connection with her African roots and her dad.
Well, and I think that there is kind of that throughout the book, right? Because when we get the Francis, isn't it interesting that when he was in England, we refer to him as Francis. But then when he is in Africa, he's Kofi. You get kind of this separation of the this is the British half, this is what's happening here, and this is when you're more connected with Africa and the country. Kind of thing.
Well, and even when she first gets to Bamana, she calls him Francis, or to the professor guy that she goes with, right? She calls him Francis, and then eventually it just ends up with her calling him Kofi.
Yeah,
when she talks about him.
As she gets to know, because she was first introduced to him through these journals, and then later on, when she meets him in Bamana, she starts to, she has to actually reacquaint herself with her father,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because she has this idea in her head of who Francis is, and she
Yeah.
has to say, okay, no, I'm actually meeting a new person because this isn't the same person from back in the 70s.
Yeah.
So what is the deal with Kofi?
Is he good? Is he bad? Is he just old?
I think he's old and bad.
Anna, like, fought with him this whole, not fought, but they had some contention talking about his political issues.
Yeah.
And then eventually she just decided to not
Let
talk
go.
about it.
Well, and I mean, I think that sometimes, like, with, like, I'm just thinking personal life, at a certain point, what good are you doing bringing it up, right?
Yeah.
If she's looking for connection and she's looking for family,
Yeah.
is bringing up, like, past problems of him being a dictator useful for that connection? But is it also, like, morally okay for her to just be like, I'm okay with this now, or like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be bothered?
I think if it was truly in the past, though, it would be fine. Except that it's like revealed later that he's going to run for office again.
Yeah.
And so are all those terrible things really behind him? Did he actually do all these terrible things? Was he actually a dictator? Like, I feel like it wasn't so far removed that it would be okay for her to just, like, cut out. I think they should have at least talked about it and kind of worked out maybe, like, his point of view, but...
Yeah, well, because it was, like, it hinted at his point of view of his time as president. Like, we get a lot of his point of view when he was in England, right?
Yeah.
Because we get his whole diaries and whatever. But then I feel like we don't really get that. And I don't think you're going to, I mean, if you're going to go meet some president of a country, you're not going to get every little thing he thought while he was there. But
no.
I feel like we didn't come to a really full understanding.
No.
And
I mean, maybe that wasn't the point. Maybe the point was just that she found connection. Maybe it's not even that she found connection with her father, but that she found connection with her African roots,
like her, home country of Bamana, and like so the ending, they go from her father, she tries to leave and go to England, and she gets imprisoned and thrown into a jail cell
and like harassed,
like hit and such. It's not good, okay? We find out later it was her dad who, like, ordered that.
Yeah. Super healthy and not toxic relationship.
Like, in what way is that okay, right? Like, it's so messed up. But you know what? The same chapter, when she finds out that it was her dad that ordered that, she, like, comes to, like, it kind of concludes, and she goes through this whole what is it, a ceremony?
It's like a coming out ritual of, like, being a woman that she missed when she was 13. So they did it when she was there.
And she felt
put her
so
on drugs
connected to her. Yeah, I don't know. She felt, like, super connected to her life and her history and ancestors.
Her ancestors were all, like, interwoven with each other, the black and the white people, which I really liked it. I thought that was some good imagery.
That's the thing is, I read that part and I'm like, wow, satisfying end
This
of the
is
book.
it.
This is it. This is good.
I know.
Like,
and then,
this gave me everything.
Well, and then it kind of ends there, like, after a little bit.
Yeah.
But then you finish and you feel like, wow, she really understands her roots and everything. And then you're like, hold on, we don't know anything about her dad.
Yeah, like, we found out right before that he threw her in prison. And then right after that, she's like, now that I felt this connection, I want my daughter to come out here and visit. And I'm like, you want your daughter to come here? Like, he literally threw you in prison.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think there are still some things to work out, but I think
that path.
I think the ending for Anna
was a good one.
Was good. Yeah, I think that was, like, cathartic for her, and I think that's just
healed
okay for us to just
for her.
Yeah, and I think just us as readers, we should just be, like, okay with being like, this fictional character has catharsis over
But
feels
this
connected.
fictional character is suddenly okay with possible like crimes against humanity her father may or may not have committed, and now wants her daughter to partake in this. Like I don't know. I feel like we have some.
But also we don't know because it could have been fine, but we don't know.
Okay, but we do know that he threw her in prison.
Yes. I'd like to say though that in any like show, book, anything where the dad has a lot of power, stuff like that usually happens.
Well, you just watch all the K-dramas. That's your fault.
I do watch.
You're like, oh yeah.
I do watch all the K-dramas where that happens.
I mean, I think that
except usually
it seems a little unacceptable.
Okay,
but
you personally think it's unacceptable.
Okay, so I'm gonna let Dad know that he can throw you in prison. Totally fine.
Dad has no power to do that.
Okay, well, no, I'm just saying that, like, this is the level that Sarah's okay with.
Well, you know, I've been grounded before. I feel like that's
getting grounded is prison. No.
There are a lot of times that Anna, so she went to school, became an architect, and then married her now husband that she separated from. But she was pregnant.
Because he's a cheater.
Yeah, he cheated on her. Yeah. She got pregnant, they got married right after, whatever. And many times throughout the book, she mentions, oh, I'm just a housewife. Oh, I'm just, like, when she was talking to that one, like, activist lady who was helping the one girl.
Yeah.
In Bamana, she thought that the lady thought that Anna was a reporter, and Anna said, no, I'm just a housewife. And that happens a lot throughout the book, and I wonder if there's some regret of being a housewife and not being an architect.
Well, I think there is that. Like, I think you also kind of, to contrast that, there are parts where she sees things very artistically, and she is kind of going back to being an artist, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of parts where she's like, I wish I could sketch that, or like she does sketch it, or she asks to paint.
Those kinds of things. And so I think a lot of the book is not just her connection with like her roots and her ancestors, it's a lot of connection with herself and what she wants out of life, you know?
Yeah. There are a few parts when she gets to Bamana where she's able to like go out and see some things, and it's almost like childlike in some parts, like, and there's one part where she's like talking to her dad, and she's saying that there are a few times where she's like, this is childish, but I think it was important for her to ask these childish questions like, why'd you leave my mom, and why, like, I don't know, like, I think I put like inner child, which I think she did have to like kind of heal her inner child a little bit.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of her journey was about that healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is that feeling abandoned from, you know, never knowing your father, right?
Yeah.
She is an older woman to be seeking out parents. I think a lot of times in these stories we think of it as like the teenager going to find their birth mom, or, you know, like that kind of story. And this is, you know, a woman in her 40s, you know, seeking that connection. So.
Yeah. What do you think about the difference? So her father made all these resorts and hotels and things, and the people were still kind of living in poverty. And some of the things that she got to do when she first got there, and or even when she was with him, versus the things that she did by herself.
Yeah, like visiting the girl who had been tied up, or those kind, like seeing the contrast between the poorest and the most disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Versus golden bathtubs and such.
Yeah, there was a part where like the bathroom was made out of gold, and then she went out and like saw this girl who was chained up because her uncle thought she was a witch. Like,
yeah, the contrast was pretty bad. Well, and
which makes you think that the dad's a bad person because he.
Which, yeah, and I mean, I think he
forgot about
is.
That. Yeah.
No, like, I don't know. They did show us the contrast, and I do think that, like, a lot of times we like to say, oh yeah, that's just in those really corrupt nations and stuff, but there's that contrast anywhere you are.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, knowing that her father was party to it what do you know, like,
Yeah, like
how do you
if,
come to terms
if
with
he
it?
was a dictator, he did have the ability to.
Well, and he was the president,
power.
and he used the money to make a gilded bathroom. Let's return to the original question. Overall, how was the book experience, Sarah?
I really liked it. I wish the ending was less rushed. I feel like she had this really like spiritual experience and then was like, and then I painted a picture of my dad and then invited my daughter to come, and I felt like it was really quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked it. There was some good commentary.
It was worth the
the
read,
beginning
you know?
there was a lot of good like commentary about like race and like
I mean, the struggles of being biracial in England during that time.
yeah.
You know, like the 80s and 90s,
Yeah.
like, and current day. So
Yeah.
there was a lot to be said for some of that.
Yeah, learned a lot.
No, I thought it
It was good.
was like a good one. I'm not gonna say 5-star best read I've ever had,
No.
but like definitely
It's a
things to
good
think
quick
about.
read.
Yeah, it was engaging.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sarah,
You're
for
welcome.
coming to my channel. This was so much fun. I'm
This
so
was so
happy
fun.
to have my little sister here with me, and I'm going to have more buddy reads with family hopefully coming up this year.
Yeah.
So, thank you for being here, and I will see you all on the next one.